Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey. You're listening to Talking Downey with Mayor Mario. Welcome back. I want to say thank you to so many of you that keep making this podcast possible. I want to thank our executive producers, Brandon Estrada, Jefe Media, and Hans Fritz, and some of our co-hosts that are going to continue to be with us throughout the year, but especially our sponsor, our main sponsor, Financial Partners Credit Union, who has done a great job of making sure that our communities know about what's happening and have sponsored this podcast since the very beginning. They've been very influential recently, too, with all their charitable givings and the things they're doing for all the wildfires here in Southern California. I did another show about talking specifically about what's happening. The National Guard has been amazing here to help protect those areas on there. Of course, our first responders, our police, fire, and police and firemen from all over the country that are here to help. So God bless you. City of Downey has done its part. We've sent several fire crews and fire engines and several police officers to help in those efforts. That's called mutual aid, and that's one of the things we're proud. We have our own police and fire, but we all work together as a region, so that's very important. I want to report on our first city council meeting that happened last night and some of the things going on. One thing that's going to happen is a big deal. It's a big deal for how we elect our officials that represent us in the city of Downey. Right now, the city of Downey has 4 districts. Okay, District 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is Horacio Ortiz. 2 is Hector Sosa. 3, Dorothy Pemberton. 4, Claudia Fermetta. And then we have a citywide one, is Mario Trujillo. I love that system, okay? Every single one of us has 2 representatives. I live in District 2. I have Hector Sosa, Mayor Hector Sosa, as my representative, but I also have Mario Trujillo because he represents the citywide one. So everyone, and that's worked now since our entire existence. There's been sometimes lawyers, ambulance chasers. There's one, Andrew Saruga, just became a lawyer, opened up his law office and sends out letters to these cities complaining about the violation of the California Voting Rights Act, which, basically the purpose of that is so if we have citywide ones, all of them can't live in District 4, right? For example, the city is represented. We've done a great job because we have geographic locations on our city. So we all have 4, plus we have the bonus of citywide one. And so with that complaint, our city attorney, looked at options on there. And I guess when they've sued, when the cities have fought it, they end up losing. Santa Monica's winning, but they paid a lot of legal fees to do it. We're not discriminated against. How can anybody say, because everybody's in a particular district, how can anybody say they don't have representation when in fact you have 2? They're asking us to go to 5 citywide districts or continue the 5 districts with boundaries, or continue the 4 that we have and go to a citywide elected mayor. So those are the options that were put before the city council. I think it's wrong. I think number 1 is you can go to the legislation and ask them to make sure to acknowledge and change that little quirk and keep the ones that we have. Number 2, we can fight it because we only have the one that's a citywide district, and everybody else is represented. So I think it's worthwhile. But the city council is going to go ahead with one of 2 choices. Go to 5 districts or go to 4 districts and a mayor. So the council last night, after deliberation, they're going to proceed with the 5 city districts. So you have a changing of the guard, if you will, and it'll be in the next election in 2026. There's 4 public hearings that have to happen. The second one, last night was a public hearing. There's a second one coming up in the next council meeting. But by May, they're going to make that decision. It's going to cost $50,000 for a person to handle the maps, to do all that, and then who knows what else is going to be. But it's going to change how things are happening right now, depending on what the map there's a word for it. I just can't say it. But there's a map person that's the city's going to hire, pay a lot of money to see how we redistrict the city boundaries to have 5 citywide ones. So as a Downey resident, I'm losing a representative. I don't like it. I think that when you have a bully lawyer doing that, I think we are giving in too soon as a city. I think we should have fought a little bit more. Yes, there's dangers, but I think we needed to have pursued it with the part that we're not discriminating against anybody. How can you discriminate when you have 5 people working, 2 of 5 already handling every single representation for our city? Some people brought up last night on the council, oh, it costs so much to run for a citywide district. Hogwash, who cares? Okay, that's just politics, okay? Every single council seat costs, $40,000, $50,000, $30,000 you got to run for. So it's not cheap. And one of the things was brought up last night about increasing the stipend. It's a volunteer thing. I don't know. When I was on the council, I received $743 a month. When I was mayor, I got $100 for being mayor. It should be public service. Now, some other cities get a couple of $1,000s a month. Some in other cities that have gotten in trouble, were $100,000 a year. It's a volunteer job. It's important because you put in a lot of time, but it's community service. So anyways, that's neither here or there. So that's going to be a big thing. Okay, that's going to be a big thing. It's called the redistricting, where your city, how you represent somebody. Now, for example, you have a couple of people that are termed out. Claudia Fermetta is termed out. She has the last 2 years. So in 2026, there'll be somebody running in District 4. That's the northeast section of Downey. So Mario Trujillo, technically, he's termed out. He just won re-election in November. So he has 4 years. He's the citywide one. But the one thing it won't change, it can't displace somebody. It can't put him out of his seat, prematurely, if you will. So he'll have his 4 years. Dorothy Pemberton in District 3 and Horacio Ortiz, they were just re-elected, so they'll have 4 more years. Now, the thing is, depending on where they live, what happens on the re-election on there, that's something that's going to be kind of interesting. They need to look at. So if they're now into another district, they might have to run in that district, but they're guaranteed their 4 years that they won the election on. And then, of course, our mayor, Hector Sosa, he oversees my district, District 2, and he's got 2 years. So our city has always taken 2 seats, District 2 and District 4 run at the same time. And then, like we just had this last election, Horacio Ortiz, Mario Trujillo, and Dorothy Pemberton. When those 3 run at the same time. That's going to change. Okay, that's going to change. Basically, it was a 5-0 vote last night, so we'll see where that goes on there. I've written an email to them, telling them my views, and that's okay. I'm entitled to have my views. I think the council people are great. They're very ethical and good, hardworking people. I just disagree on this. This has worked well for so many years. I think we caved in too fast. I think there needs to be a little fight. We're already spending $50,000 plus the lawyer wants $40,000. The lawyer that's threatening to sue us because somebody was disenfranchised, which is hogwash. Point to one person that's disenfranchised by our current system. So Andrew Saraga, you know what? That's you're one of those ambulance chasing lawyers that people talk about. This is a great example of how lawyers react just for the money because there's nobody being disenfranchised here. So, okay, I'm getting off my high horse. Here's some things that are interesting. Here's what the council members asked to look at last night during their comment section on there. By the way, his first meeting as mayor, Hector Sosa ran a good meeting. They didn't have any presentations, but they did have 3 public hearings. So those take a little bit longer, yet the meeting went well without an exorbitant amount of time. So Councilwoman Dorothy Pemberton, she brought up to staff. And what happens is the old Catherine Alvarez thing, when she kept asking staff to do things that were just nonsensical, and the staff would, have to run and do this because they were being asked by a council person. So the council passed a motion on there that anything that a council person asks for, it needs to at least have a second by the remainder of the council people, because that way at least the city staff, it sends some direction that there's at least two that want to hear what that report is. So that's a good thing. It's kind of redundant on there, but it's a good thing, and that's all because of, and she was recalled, so I don't want to harp anymore on there, but she had the staff doing crazy things. And as you know, time is money, and it costs a lot of money. But so last night, our council peoples, during their request for things, Dorothy Pemberton, she asked to look into permits for parties. That some residents feel that, if you do parties too often, so she was talking about maybe having permits like you do for yard sales twice a year and so forth. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. We do have noise abatement laws, disturbing the peace. And I've been around with our police department enough. Disturbing the peace could happen at 1 in the afternoon. If somebody calls and you're disturbing their peace, at least they have to respond to it. And I think the first time is notice, warning. Second time is something. Maybe by the third time you get you have to shut it down and you give a citation. But anyways, permits for having a party, she brought it, and it did get seconded. So that'll be interesting. I think Claudia Fermetta seconded that. Mario Trujillo wanted to look at the stipends for the council because he's on some boards with other municipalities in the League of California Cities. Also wants to look at our power boxes, which that was near and dear to my heart. Some of them are getting in time are starting getting shabby. And his comment was, do we have any money for cleaning it up? And the staff responded that there actually is money in the Arts and Public Funds on there that to be able to look at that. So that was kind of refreshing, interesting. My family has sponsored 3 boxes. I want to do another one. And I will be doing one this year. But if you look throughout the city, those power boxes, that was one of my pet projects, and I'm glad they're still doing it. So, and I'm glad that Mario Trujillo realizes that they beautify the community. So good for us. He wanted things to look at a charging station in the city. By 2035, I think Governor Newsom says that we all need to have electric cars. And, folks, this is 2025, so that's in 10 years. God willing, I live that long. It ain't going to happen. I have a power anxiety. I don't want to be worried about charging up my car. It's bad enough charging up my phone, right, with a backup battery. Anyways, but his point was, where do we have? That's nothing to do with him. I'm just stating my big government thing, telling me what kind of car I can have. A lot of people won't live up to it. We're not going to have enough charging stations. So one of the things that he talked about is how are we preparing for that? And our city manager did respond whether we're looking at, on city property or on private property. So they're going to be looking at that. So we'll see what that means. And then he talked about a Downey mascot. And the council had talked about maybe it's an astronaut or something a little bit fun, quirky that, represents the city. But so that's cute and whimsical, and he got a second on it. So the staff will look at that. And I think that could be fun, cheap, and effective for the morale and attitude. Councilmember Ortiz talked about looking into parking permits because some streets that have that, I think some streets that have we recently enacted that on because of parking, especially when you have a lot of apartments, a lot of multi-units, that might be something to take a look at. So the Columbia Memorial Space Center has done amazing things since we opened in 2009. So just yesterday, it was named by LA County to continue to host the City of STEM. And I know Mayor Sosa and our city manager, Roger Bradley, and Ben Dick, our executive director, were at the Board of Supervisors when they were recognized in Downey again holding the City of STEM and being a host. This has turned into a big event. Unfortunately, I don't like it. It's going to be in downtown LA. I liked it when we had it here by the Columbia next to the Discovery Sports Complex, because you had all these people coming into from all over the cities for the city of STEM. And it was a big event. Financial Partners Credit Union is the main sponsor, and that's amazing there too. So anyways, they talked about other things coming up. I just wanted to come back and give you a short recap of what the council meeting did the other day and some of the things that you should be aware of. First and foremost, call your council member one way or the other, or email them. Let them know what your thoughts are on the redistricting. Okay. Again, to be clear, they voted to have 5 equal districts. So some of you that are now in one district are going to be in a different district. The map will rechange. That's not good English. The map will change. So please take a look at that. Let you know the input by the next council meeting when they vote on it. It'll be the second time out of 4. And by May, this is a done deal. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know. So stay informed. Okay, feel free to give me a call. Our goal this year, thank you for being listeners. We have over 201,000 engagements this last year. So you're watching, you're listening. It makes us proud. We love the comments. We're going to continue to have guest hosts. We're looking at having our mayor back. We're looking at our city manager. We're looking at our police chief, our fire chief, the local parts, but also the businesses here in downtown, the businesses in the city of Downey. We want to have some youth activities. We're going to go out in the field. Okay, right, Brandon? We're going to go out in the field, and we're going to do some podcasts from out there. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your recommendations, and where you like us to continue. What do you like about the show? I know. And then what you don't like, Mario, you talk too much. I'm good with that too. Call me on my cell, 562-706-4114, 562-706-4114. My email, mario@guerrains.com. Or comment here on you can watch us, listen to us on YouTube, on Spotify, on anywhere you get a podcast, we're there, Apple Podcasts. So thank you. We appreciate it. We'll welcome the new year. Our goal is to have a new show dropped every Friday, so it's consistent to what you see. But we'd love to hear what your thoughts. Regardless, from now on, please pray for our first responder. Please pray for those families that are hurt so much. Please pray for over 30 families that lost their loved ones that got burned up in the fires or died because of that. A lot of tragedy going on. The spirit here at Downey wanting to help is amazing, and it touches our hearts. And don't forget to for our first responders and our military. So God bless you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Talking Downey with Mayor Mario.